We are live in 10, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening. The July 28th, 2026 tentative budget hearing and regular board meeting is now in order. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the public that the appropriate place for public participation in the meeting is during your individual public comment opportunity as identified in the agenda. Outside of our individual public comment opportunity, your role in the meeting is as an observer. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Susan?
Here.
Ms. Wright?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Trent?
Here.
At this time, I'd like to hold a moment of silence. I invite the audience to join. You good, Katie? Okay. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. You guys getting up? They are. I don't think they heard me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That brings us to the adoption of the agenda. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On this evening's agenda, we have one recognition, 2 presentations, a tentative public budget hearing, 46 consent items, 7 policy public hearing items, 1 action item, and 1 information item. Changes made to the agenda since it was released to the public include the following. Revised were B1, F5, and F11. Removed was F16.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
We're now at the tentative budget hearing presentation portion of the agenda. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, we'd have Ms. Sue Hand, Deputy Superintendent, provide a presentation on the proposed millage levy and the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2027.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity tonight. I'm going to make a very, very brief presentation. I did a little bit more in-depth presentation last week at the work session, so tonight's presentation will be relatively short because what's really on your agenda tonight are just the perfunctory administrative actions that are required as the first step in the adoption of the FY 2027 budget. So what will be on your agenda tonight is first the public hearing, the adoption of the FY 27 millage rates, the adoption of the FY 27 budget as a preliminary budget, and then authorization for superintendent actions, which include notification to the property appraiser and the tax collector. So these will be each agenda item. These are the agenda items that are part of the adoption of the budget process. And then I just want to talk briefly about the budget as a financial planning guide. And so, local governments, school districts adopt a budget, and I think it's really important to understand that this is a document that is based on the best available data that we have. So we were literally getting revenue projections from the state about a week ago, so the variables that go into our budget change constantly. We get lots of different revenue sources from a variety of places. We've got state revenue, federal revenue, local revenue. We have different categories of expenditures that may be placed in a variety of spots within the revenue framework. So there are a lot of different variables that we need to consider as we put together the budget. But what's really important in my mind is that it's our responsibility as leaders in the district to monitor and adapt and keep track of how the budget is progressing throughout the fiscal year. So in my sense, this is not a point-in-time activity. This is the beginning of a process. And so you as the board will see the budget again in September for the formal adoption of the budget. But as our district staff is looking at this on a continuous basis, we are going to be monitoring both revenues and expenditures to make sure that things are tracking according to our projections as we know them today. And if we need to make mid-course corrections, we are able to do so and present them to you as we go along through the process. And so just to briefly show what we will be talking about this evening and adopting, the FY27 millage rates and rolled back rates are shown on the screen. The proposed 27 millage rate is 6.3020 mils. The rolled back rate, 6.2201. Rolled back rate is basically the rate at which, if applied to the current tax roll less new construction, would generate the same amount of revenue as last year. And then the superintendent will read a statement that says the tentative budget exceeds the rolled back rate by 1.32%. But I also want to show you our millage rate history over time. If you look at the chart, it reflects that our millage rate has been going steadily down. The only difference has been the voter-approved 1 mil that occurred in fiscal year '24, but generally speaking, the locally adopted tax rates have been going steadily down. With respect to the budget, this is a quick summary of the budget. There's much more detail in the budget book that is posted with the agenda, and so there's 50 more pages of information about this. But these are the major funds that we have in our budget, and again, showing a slight decrease. And there are really different ways to measure budgets against budgets or budgets against actual and those types of things. But generally speaking, our budget projections on the expenditure side for fiscal year '27 are going to be slightly less than they were in fiscal year '26. And then I just wanted to highlight this for everyone. If our community has an interest in learning more about the budget process, about school district finance, our accounting team produces this document every year after the close of the fiscal year. So this is the fiscal year '25 document, but it really explains school district funding in good detail, so you can kind of get a sense of how school districts are funded. It also shows how our expenditures are distributed among the different purposes that we have at the district. And so it's a really good document to kind of understand school district finance and get a framework for understanding our budget if you're looking at our budget document. So I did put a link to this in our the presentation document that will be attached to the agenda. So if folks want to look at that document, it really gives a kind of a good framework that's not in accounting speak about our school district funding. So good document. And really that's all I have for you this evening. I just want to say thank you to the board and thank you to our leadership team. Everyone has been super helpful, and their teams have been super helpful in putting together the budget document that you see before you this evening. I'd also like to say thanks to our community. The budget reflects the investment that our community is making in our students and our schools and our educational system. And so, this is a document we should be proud of because it is really showing our community what we're doing for our students. And as you know, we've been an A district 3 years in a row, and that's pretty exciting. We continue to see academic progress, and I think that is a reflection of the investments that we have been making through the budgeting process. So our final public hearing on the budget will be Thursday, September 10th at 5:30. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions. So thank you.
All good?
Thank you very much, Ms. Ann. I did have one request. If we have in the back of this document that'll be posted with the minutes and everything too, there's a glossary, and there's one item that I would love for your team to add because we get questions about it sometimes. And that's purchase services, because it's not necessarily what it sounds like. I know there are some things that we do purchase, but it's my understanding the bulk of that money is the money that we pass through to charter schools.
Correct.
So if we could put that in the back, it's just a glossary item that says purchase services includes money that goes to charter schools. I think that would help. And I don't remember if that's in the PAFR or not, but it would be good, since we have such a great glossary in the back, just to add that.
Absolutely. That's a great note. Thank you. We'll take care of that in both the PAFR and the budget document.
All right, thank you.
Everybody else good? Mm-hmm. All right, this hearing's now open for public comments. We will, in accordance with Florida law, accept speakers in the following order. The proposed budget millage levy for first fiscal year 2027, followed by the fiscal year 2027 proposed budget. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the 2026-2027 proposed millage levy? Is there anyone here individual who wishes to address the 2027 budget? Public comment portion of the hearing is now closed. That brings us to the recommendations for the adoption of the proposed millage rates and tentative budget. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is a total of 3 separate motions for the board to consider. I will read each of these recommendations into the record and request board action after each. The first is to adopt the proposed millage rates for the fiscal year 2027. As part of the operating fund, the required local effort millage is 3.054 mils. The local discretionary millage rate is 0.748. The capital outlay millage rate is 1.5. The voter-approved millage rate is 1.0, for a total proposed millage rate of 6.302.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
The second item is to adopt the fiscal year 2027 proposed budget. The general fund amount is $821,250,715. The debt service fund amount is $36,116,361. The capital project fund amount is $433,477,839. Special revenue fund, $152,106,977. Internal services fund, $124,819,365, for a total budget of $1,567,771,257.
Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Dr. Rendell.
The third and final item is to authorize the superintendent to take the following actions. First action is to notify both the property appraiser and the tax collector of the proposed millage rate and the following rolled back rates for fiscal year 2027. For fiscal year 2027, the required local effort rolled back rate is 3.0184. The local discretionary rolled back rate is 0.7373. The rolled back capital outlay rate is 1.4786. And the rolled back voter millage would be 0.958, for a total rolled back rate of 6.2201 mils. To notify both the property appraiser and the tax collector of the final public hearing on Thursday, September 10th at 5:30 p.m. Here at the ESF. And finally, to adjust the revenues and expenditures, if necessary, prior to the final public hearing.
Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Any discussion?
Just real fast, can you state the voted millage rollback rate again? Because I think you might have transposed one of the numbers.
0.9858.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Prior to the adjournment of this hearing, I must read the following statement. The proposed millage rate for the fiscal year of 2027 necessary to fund the tentative budget exceeds the rollback rate by 1.32%. The tentative budget public hearing is now adjourned. All right, here we go.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
before we move on to public comments, we have one presentation and a recognition.
Yeah, I'd love to hear
So
it.
if we could start with the recognition first. So I'd like Wendy Smith and Nicole Kuiper to come up to the podium to talk about an honor that the district is receiving from the Guy Harvey Foundation. I don't want to take any more thunder away, so I'll let them share this super good news that almost everybody in the audience is here for.
Good evening. I'm pleased to announce that Brevard Public Schools has been recognized as a Guy Harvey Conservation District. I'm going to turn it over to Nicole Kuiper, my district contact science teacher, because we have a lot of people in the audience, teachers and administrators, who have helped us receive this designation.
Thank you, Dr. Swin. Today is a very special day for Brevard Public Schools as we celebrate an incredible partnership with the Guy Harvey Foundation. Brevard Public Schools is officially recognized as a Guy Harvey Conservation District through our commitment to support environmental STEM education, marine conservation, and hands-on learning experiences for our students. We would not be standing here today as a Guy Harvey Conservation District without these teachers who became Guy Harvey Conservation educators at the school level. These teachers attended training, some as recently as today, implemented Guy Harvey lessons in the classroom. They help students look at the world around them with curiosity, encourage students to ask questions, investigate problems, explore our environment, and understand that they have a role to play in protecting the places we call home. So today, as we celebrate becoming a Guy Harvey Conservation District, I want to recognize and thank the teachers and administrators who are early adopters. Your willingness to learn, to grow, and to bring conservation into the lives of your students is what made this achievement possible. So thank you. I would like to recognize the 14 Guy Harvey schools: Southlake Elementary, Roosevelt Elementary, Westside Elementary, West Melbourne School for Science, Ocean Breeze Elementary, Krista McAuliffe Elementary, Lewis Carroll Elementary, Freedom 7 Elementary, Mila Elementary, Ralph Williams Elementary, Gulf View Elementary, Tropical Elementary, Stone Middle School, and Palm Bay Magnet High School. Or Palm Bay Magnet High School, sorry. You have allowed BPS to be recognized as a Guy Harvey Conservation District. Now, as a Guy Harvey Conservation District, we have the opportunity to create a culture of conservation across Brevard Public Schools in collaboration with the Guy Harvey Foundation, where all teachers will have access to Guy Harvey professional learning and resources. Our students live in a place surrounded by incredible natural resources. We have the ocean, the Indian River Lagoon, wetlands, estuaries, and diverse wildlife right outside our doors. What better place than Brevard to inspire the next generation of scientists, engineers, environmental leaders, and conservationists. Thank you to every teacher, administrator, and students who have helped BPS receive this designation. We are so proud of the work you are doing, and we cannot wait to continue to collaborate between your classrooms and the Guy Harvey Conservation as a school district. Thank you.
Hang on. I have a couple of questions. Are we the only Guy Harvey district in the state of Florida?
We are not.
Who else is?
There's quite a few. So Polk County.
They don't even have an estuary.
Right? Like, what's up with that?
They're landlocked. Come on.
I think Guy Harvey's really pushing Florida because they do offer several trainings. Like I said, I know some of our teachers were in St. Augustine today learning about lionfish and sharks. And then there's another training at the end of August in Tampa where some teachers are going. There's a training in mid-September in the Keys.
I heard about the one in September.
Yeah.
Tom, you want to tell us a little bit about some of the training? Come on.
Come on, Thomas.
I'd like to see you.
So as we bring Thomas up here to talk about the training, when we decided to pursue all this training and all this curriculum with Guy Harvey, it wasn't necessarily to become a Guy Harvey district. The desire was to provide our students with really good curriculum and our teachers with really good training. So becoming a Guy Harvey district is just kind of like icing on the top. But we have really good curriculum, really good activities, and really good training for our teachers. So if you want to share some of that.
So just this week, or weekend, we dissected lionfish, learned about how they're the invasive species that are overtaking our waters here locally and troublesome to our waters. We also learned about sharks and collecting data about sharks. But the last one I went to was about invertebrates and how they're important to our waters as well. The kids really, at the school level, they can go ahead and do beach cleanups and really see how they could save the beaches here locally, help the beach here. It helped our students in 4th grade because we get grants for for the students to go on field trips. So that helped with the Indian River Lagoon field trip that we had this year at Ralph Williams, as well as it took our kids to the zoo school, and helped with conservation in that way. So it definitely has impacted our students at Ralph Williams quite dramatically already. So, and plus we had our Guy Harvey Conservation Club where our students spread the wealth of conservation, so.
Tom, do they ever ask you to paint like Guy Harvey or anything as part of the curriculum?
I painted something today, actually, with oysters, because we did oyster restoration as well, so. And in fact, Miss Kelly and I, that's the art teacher at my school, we're both certified educators, and we work together, and we're putting together a canvas right now with collecting from the trash that we picked up at the beach from our different beach cleanups, because you have to do a beach cleanup every year in order to remain a Guy Harvey school, so.
Just so everybody knows, Tom had no idea I was going to ask him to come up.
Not a clue.
And you did a great job.
This is on the whim.
But, Tom, thank you for everything you do inside your classroom. You're a phenomenal STEM teacher. He's one of our STEM teachers that's inside there. And I also want to say thank you for giving an overview of the program. We appreciate you.
Yes.
And it looks like your painting is going to make it up here.
Yeah.
We do have a lithograph that was presented to BPS from the Guy Harvey Foundation, so we thought we could get all of our early adopters up here with a picture for that, and then this will be left with BPS.
Where are we going to put this one?
So we can take a break for a picture.
Where are we going to put this?
Take a break.
We'll find an appropriate place.
We're going to start putting stuff around.
Come on.
3, 2,
Dr. Rendell, do we have any other special guests and presentations?
Yes, Mr. Chair, last year we had a banner year academically,
Yeah.
and so we want to take some time to look at that data. You know, when the news came out, it's the middle of summer, when all the data is official and school grades and district grades are released, and we don't necessarily get to share that with the public. We haven't had an evening board meeting since the grades were released, and this is
It's true.
the opportunity for us to share all that information, share the good news, the work, the hard work of all the teachers and the students in the classroom.
Yep.
So I'm going to turn it over to Tara Harris, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and she's going to share all of the good news that all of the departments and all the schools share in this data. So Tara?
Good evening. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here in front of you today to truly celebrate our student success. I think we're going to go over a whole lot of exciting news, and I think if you think of a student's face behind every single number that we present, you can't help but feel really good in your heart and very proud to be from Brevard. So we're going to start off, we're going to go over those components that make up the district grade. We're also going to go over the school grade breakdown. And then we're going to celebrate because we have so many schools that really showed such great progress, and we want to make sure to celebrate them. And then we're going to go grade level by content area. So it's a lot, but I think it'll be well worth it. So we're going to go over all of those things. We're going to start out with, this is the makeup of the district grade. So you will see the same components that we've had in the past, but I just want to do a couple highlights to show you that our strategic plan looks at our ranking with percentage of total points. And so last year at this time, we were 19th, and we've moved to 15th. And the reason that's important is, yes, a lot of schools in Florida showed improvement. But I think when you start moving in ranking, you are improving in ranking amongst your peers in other districts. Our total points ranking is 19th, up from 23rd last year. So we have a lot of work that went on in our buildings, and we just could not be prouder of our school staff. You will also notice here, the bar did raise for combination schools and high schools this year. It went up to 65. And if you'll remember a year ago when we were sharing, we were super proud, that we got into that A, but you will see we are 68% is well over that threshold with a growth of 36 percentage points over time. We are going to go into each grade level, but I just have to highlight our third grade teachers just for a second. We're going to go over some third grade data, but oftentimes you see one subject or another because third grade teachers know that's a whole cell for a school grade, but it's also what can be called, it's a pivotal year for third grade, is you're being assessed on your ability to read, to learn. And you will see that our third grade went up, and that is a single cell, so we really want to celebrate what happened. And when we get into math, you're going to see some other celebrations. So now when we go through, I just want to share, we saw an increase in the number of schools that earned an A or B. So we are very proud of those schools, and we're going to go school by school to just really show what some of those increases are. But here again, I want to remind you, our strategic plan goal is that we want every school to be an A or a B. And so this trend shows we are well on our way by 2030. This highlights, we are currently at 79% of our schools earned either a school grade of A or B. And along the bottom of this slide, you will see this talks about empowering our every learner, uniting our community. So I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize everyone in this room that feels passionate about student learning, to include the people along the back wall. They truly support our schools. And I think if you're out in our schools, we hope that they feel that support and that we really want to serve every student. So let's talk about those schools that increased their letter grade. We had 17 schools move their letter grade. You will see some with the asterisks next to you, or next to their names, and those are schools that actually moved 2 grades. So we're super proud of this number of schools that moved a letter grade. Let's talk about those schools. We have 4 schools that moved from a C to an A. Remarkable achievement, committed teachers, committed support staff, committed administration, committed family partners, and our students really showed off what they know. So super proud of Croton, Mims, Port Malabar, and Roy Allen. Now we're going to talk about school point increases. So these are schools that increased in points. 62 schools. We have 4 columns of schools here. We have so much to celebrate, and when I look at this slide, I really think that shows a testament to you don't have to be bad to get better. Everyone in Brevard is looking to be better tomorrow than we are today. So super proud, 62 schools showing increases in school points. Here is another remarkable accomplishment. So we have schools that improved in every cell. And I just want to take a second to recognize these schools because this is harder than it looks. That means all of your content areas across the board, your learning gains, you went up in every single cell. So that's Croton, Enterprise, Gemini, Manatee, Port Malabar, Roy Allen, and Tropical. Super proud of these schools. Now we're going to go into content area data. So for 3rd grade, you will see here we have 3rd grade on the left, 4th grade on the right, and we'll go subject area or grade level by grade level as we move through. Again, I have to highlight, I have sat in front of you before, and I haven't always been able to celebrate 3rd grade. We've talked about our work doing, starting in VPK through grade 2, Mighty Moves, our implementation of UFly, been very intentional. And here is my commitment to the students of Brevard. I would rather have long-term sustainable success for our students than highs and lows. So I think that we have been trending up and not always in 3rd grade where we want to be. But I think what you see today is a commitment, and it's a first step in where you will see Brevard continue to grow. As our students enter 3rd grade with those foundational skills, I think that you will see that the sky is the limit. We're setting students up for success long-term.
Ms. Harris, I have a crowd cheering thing because I'm so excited. These numbers are amazing. Like, you're rolling through them, and we both know the struggles that we've had to get here, the work that it's taken to get here. And we know the goal is to get us in the top 10. We know the goals are all these things. But, so you might hear this, and I just want to let you know I'm cheering with you with my little app.
He's not playing Instagram Reels. He's
No, I have it. I don't know how to, I don't have Instagram, so I don't even know how to do that. But I do know how to get to YouTube and put a cheer on there. So
Yes.
that's it.
I think our students and our teachers, again, they deserve all the applause. I feel like we can't cheer them on enough. And when we think of what this means for students is, again, I go back to, we look at numbers, but there's a student's face behind every number. And, you know, our goal is 100% proficiency, 100% learning gains. So we continue to have work to do, but I think when we're thinking around all students, we are starting to see some upward trend.
So before we leave that slide, I promise not to interrupt too much, but the grade 3 ELA jump by 6%, I think is incredible. And 2 years ago, we shared with the district, shared with the board, our literacy plan. And a lot of the focus was on kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. So that's an investment in the future. So 2 years ago, we started that. This is the first 3rd grade cohort that got that attention in 2nd grade. So the literacy plan obviously is effective. I can't wait to see what 3rd grade is next year because that's going to be students that started the literacy plan, so to speak, in 1st grade. So that foundational literacy work is paying off.
And I also want to add, through the support of our community and millage, we did put 3rd grade we put 3rd grade interventionists into every school that was not currently an A. And I feel like small group direct instruction mattered, and I think that that is a strong tribute to this. Also, we made some mid-year shifts. So at PM2, our 3rd grade was not trending exactly where we felt it should be. And that's why I want to thank all the big people on our campuses because even people in Pod 3, they converted to going out to schools and doing small group instruction with students. So we kind of made that mid-year shift, and it's definitely paid off. Now we're going to go into 5th and 6th grade. So I will just remind you, for our 6th grade students, this, for the state, when we're looking at rank within the state in 6th grade, Brevard continues to be a top performer with 6th grade overall, both in ELA and in math. And then we move to our 7th grade students. Again, as we'll keep talking, you know that our goal is at least 3% of an increase each year annually through 2030. And so you will see some trends that we continue to meet or exceed that goal. In 9th and 10th grade, again, you see consistency, and I think this is a tribute to the secondary programs and also our partners in school leadership really going all in on teacher clarity. And what that basically, that initiative spoke to is teachers need to be clear on what student learning looks like, what does the impact of my instruction look like for students, and students need to be clear on why am I learning this and what does mastery look like. We're going to now just do a quick review. I'm going to highlight this slide again because last year, again, we didn't always see this kind of trend in the elementary setting. And so to see both growth in elementary and secondary, I think shows the commitment of all stakeholders to improving student outcomes. Now we're going to do the same thing. And again, I'm going to highlight our 3rd grade teachers because typically when they go all in on 3rd grade reading, you don't see this type of increase in math because they have only so much instructional time and they're making instructional decisions. So to see this significant increase in 3rd grade math while we just celebrated 3rd grade ELA, again, something to definitely celebrate. As we move through, again, I'm going to highlight our 6th grade math is high, but it continues to get higher. And when we look at our peers across the state, other high-performing districts, we are not only holding our own, but they're actually calling us to say, what are you doing in 6th grade? I should highlight, we did have a neighboring district just call us too to say, what are we doing in our secondary and our high school ELA too? So it's super nice when they're calling saying, what are you doing?
Are they ranked below us or above us?
They are slightly below us, but continuing to show great promise.
So they're ranked higher, like they're 20 or whatever. Above.
We have one that is ranked higher than we are, but we have a district that's like right on our heels that we will continue to beat.
Don't tell them.
Yes, yes. Don't worry, we are changing the tide. All students benefit. So you know, this is my favorite slide when we talk about 7th grade math and 8th grade math, because we made the decision to flip this for students. Yeah. So students that were taking that MJ Advanced course actually took the 8th grade assessment. Again, I'm going to highlight what we thought we would see is a more even flip. So we thought we would decline in 7th grade and increase in 8th grade commiserately. But if you look here, you see that our increase in 8th grade is significantly higher than our decrease for 7th grade. So we'll continue to monitor this, but for this 1 year with that decision, the data does look lopsided.
Good job.
Looking at our algebra, so these are our students that are taking algebra either at the middle school level or at the high school level. And then geometry, that is our only area where we stayed flat across the board for geometry. So continuing to problem solve about what resources and how we can refine instruction for students. But again, you see a total trend when we think of math overall in Brevard and showing that 3% increase, that is a celebration of a K-12 system, BP K-12 system, sorry. Mm-hmm. So again, we look here and outside of that 7th grade where that flip is, but again, you will see it is significantly higher in 8th grade than the loss in 7th grade, much to celebrate. And I think that goes to a lot of intentional work around instructional planning and math. And now we are going to flip to science. What a trend you will find with our science data is across the board up 4%. So we just celebrated a lot of our teachers that are not only science teachers, but also some of our STEM teachers. They have been very supportive and working collaboratively for that 5th grade science and really owning how do we provide hands-on opportunities for students to increase science achievement. This is a definite, again, I'm going to do a plug for the millage because the millage is what pays for our STEM teachers in every elementary school. And I think in combination with our 3rd and 4th, 5th grade teachers, you're seeing a payoff in student learning. Again, 8th grade, you see 4% increase, and guess what in biology? 4% increase. So across the board, significant gains. A lot to be very proud of. This is just that summary, and this one was the easiest because it's 4% across the board. But again, I go back to, we're preparing students so that they arrive at that next grade level with the skills needed to be successful and ultimately graduate to compete in our society. Now we're going to go into our civics and U.S. history, so you will see increases here as well in both areas. And then you will see the trend here for civics, 5% increase. Our strategic plan alignment here is an increase over the previous year, so meeting that goal in both of these areas. Acceleration. I hate to steal Mr. Raymer's thunder because I know these are topics he loves to talk about. But again, I'm just going to share that for middle school acceleration, all-time high for Brevard at 77%. So definitely, again, another area of celebration. And then record-breaking, Mr. Raymer, record-breaking graduation rate. And I think this is the best measurement we have of our school system is your graduation rate. And we often tell elementary teachers, you are part of this narrative as well. You are supporting students because we want them to be successful so that they can go be productive either through employment, enlistment, or in career or college. Any questions?
I know we're all going to want to say something, so who wants to go first? Mr. Thomas?
I'll probably say what everybody's going to say, and that's just wow. Thank you to everybody that's been involved, every teacher, every volunteer, every principal. It's been a huge effort. I know that regardless of how you look at all the statistics and what the state does with measurements and all that, you cannot deny the fact that we've made improvements in all of our testing and everything. We're all moving in the right direction. And I appreciate the district's work, especially with VPK and early childhood reading, and just all, we're really starting to see progress, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be even tougher next year because I guess the standards are going to raise, and it's kind of like winning a championship. It's harder to do it the next time. So
You can win 3 of them in a row.
Here's
We
what I
might.
will tell you, though.
That's 4-peat. We're gonna
Brevard
4-peat,
welcomes the
so.
challenge. We welcome the challenge. You are correct that for elementary, middle, and high school and district grade, the bar is raising, but we just feel that we are on an upward trend, and we welcome that challenge.
That's right.
thank you for everything.
It's like winning a championship, and the next year the football field is 20 yards longer. Right, right. I was thinking about the way that you guys do problem solving. You know, we already know that our teachers are doing that with the materials that they have. They're seeing students who are struggling and how do I problem solve? How do I get this student the help that they need? But they're doing it at the school level. You were bringing the principals in and doing those datacom sessions where they were having to present in front of their peers. Here's the progress we're making or the progress we're not making, and sharing ideas with one another. But even at the district level, when you guys were seeing schools that were struggling, you didn't just come and rap them on the knuckles or just ignore it. Your teams from here, student services, school leadership, curriculum instruction, were coming into those schools saying, what do you need? And if it's manpower, we'll send our people who went off task of the things that they need to be doing up here, or maybe we're doing both, and stepped into schools to do those small groups to make sure those students are successful. So the problem solving at every level made such a huge impact, and very much appreciate that. This is lots to celebrate. I do have I always have this little soapbox when we talk about the numbers, because there's people who hear the numbers and they think they represent one thing they don't. The graduation rate, record number, but there's some people who look at 92.7 and say, well, does that mean that 7.3% of the kids dropped out? That's not what that means. It just means that 92.7% of the students graduated on time in the 4 years with the people they started with in 9th grade. So some of them needed an extra year. Some of them may have disappeared into another state and we couldn't track them down as much as we tried to, or other options. And there are some that drop out, but we try to catch as many as we can, and y'all have been catching them, and congratulations to that. And I always have to say too, because I always see those grades, they'll say 65%, are proficient, 3 or higher. That means 35% can read. That's not what that means. These tests are difficult. And it's and the students, we're talking about students who are coming from every level and every background, and what you guys have been able to do, what our teachers in the classroom are doing to get these kids to that level, to see those learning gains, it's just so impressive. And I have no doubt that next year, even with the goalposts moving, that Brevard is going to continue to see student achievement rise. Thank you.
Thank you. I really like that. She was fired up. Gene, you got to be fired up now.
I always am.
Mr. Susan, can I just make a,
You're going to do.
no, I'd just like to point out that we now have Ms. Campbell making football analogies, which is.
Listen,
We-
you took my thunder here. You took my thunder. All right, I'm coming back to that. I'm just coming back to that because that was.
Are we ready?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
This has been a great month, basically, or how many weeks we've had these numbers. So this is a great idea doing it now. When you and Mr. Raymer gave the presentation to the principals, it was great then. It was very athletic, feeling there with the data. When I'm out talking to people and they're like, how? Like, how do you make all these changes? How did 4 schools bump 2-letter grades? How did this all happen? And again, not us, right? The teachers, the staff, but Dr. Rendell had mentioned it, you guys had a plan. And that was the biggest thing, as I said, because we have a plan and we have people that, live this. And when, you mentioned that the data wasn't looking just right and you just swarmed on it and you talked about problem solving, but it matters having the right people in the right places. So thank you and thank your team. Thank you, Dr. Rendell, for the vision. And, when I'm in a group, I can't not talk about you when we talk about this, because it means so much to you that you're going to pull them across the finish line. You're going to go and you're going to work. You're going to do whatever you have to do. So thank you for then putting the people around you that have the same vision as you. And this goes from here to the principals, to the teachers, to the support staff, to the students, to the parents. But it's multi-layered, and it has to be to have this type of success. So we're very fortunate to have you doing the hard work for us. So thank you so much.
Mr. Trent, I appreciate your kind words, but I just need to say, they say it takes a village, and there is a large village, but most importantly are the teachers in front of our students. So I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you also recognize the biggest player in this is that our teachers buy in to what we're selling. We've got a plan, but if teachers don't implement the plan, students don't have this same learning. Thank you.
Mr. Wright.
All right, well, I'm going to echo the sentiments of everybody else up here, and I just have to say, I love the fact that I got academic excellence as my area of focus on the strategic plan, because it's given me the ability to sit down with you on a regular basis and just see how you're monitoring this and how we're checking it. And I just want to thank your team, because sometimes there have been decisions that have been a bit controversial, right? And they've come with criticism, but it's you recognizing, hey, what we're doing maybe isn't working. Let's pivot and change. There was a lot of talk in the community when we moved away from the literacy coaches, which were focused on coaching the educators, and we moved to the interventionists, which is focused on working specifically with the children. And there was some concern there that wasn't going to pay off, but thank you for being bold enough to say, hey, we're seeing some data that doesn't look the best. We have some great people, and I'm not saying that to knock them, but you recognize that there was time to pivot. Let's not wait till we get an entire year's worth of data and then say, okay, let's make that change now. So I just want to thank your team for leading this way. And, there's been some changes. It's funny because board members, I'm sure you guys all get the same phone calls that I get, right? In areas of concern, we got to go do Datacom. That was a big thing at first. Everyone was really, really up in arms over that. But I think the end result shows that everyone is accountable, and we're looking at our data and we're making sure that the mission is the mission, right? We're not getting off of that. And so I've always said I'm very, very grateful for the leadership team. I'm grateful for our teachers who invest every single day into these kids. But I really want to thank your team specifically, because I know this is, you live, breathe, eat, dream, everything, all data. And so I just thank you for all the work that you're doing. I know that I can trust everything you tell me, and if you say, hey, this looks like this isn't going well, we maybe need to change, I never question that. I'm like, you know what, Tara, if you're saying that, then that's definitely what we need to do. So I appreciate you.
I wanted to say thank you also. This road's been about, 3.5, 4 years of steadily increasing and improving our scores. And one of the things that's a constant theme with you and Dr. Rendell and a lot of your leadership is every time we try to give you guys a compliment, you guys pass it right through and say, but we're not the ones that are in the classroom. Yeah. And I think having that student student-centered, classroom-focused, teacher-led actual guidance as far as leadership inside of our school district is what gives us the drive and the increases and the, you know what I mean? We are building it from the inside out, not from the outside in. And I think with that and your team, and I think we gave too much credit to Mr. Raymer, I'll just admit. I think giving him a little bit.
I have to go sit back there.
No. Mr. Raymer, you and your teams, IT with Mr. Cheatham and Ms. Dampierre and everybody, everybody's moving together. We're all rowing in the same direction, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And I did want to say thank you to Ms. Campbell for referencing a football. I did. Like, that was, when she said that, I said, well, how can I compliment that? So just so everybody knows, Ms. Campbell always does things with orchestra and stuff like that. So I thought my comment would be that, you know, when they make it harder for us, it's like moving the ensemble cohesion to a higher number so that we can't get through it. Or
you totally
the
ChatGPT that?
The musical interpretation gets a little higher. It's the next level, you know what I mean? And what is this right here? Intonation? Intonation, that's it too, or tone quality. Those all increase a little bit. But what I'm saying here is they're moving it up, and we have to rally, because we are going three-peat, right? And we're going to go for a fourth-peat, and this is something that I think is serious, and we all recognize that this next leap is going to be very difficult. So on the one hand, I wanted to say thank you so much for your direction over the years, the work that you've done with your team and everybody else that's in there also, but we really need to rally as a team now, shift gears and say, let's go day one, and let's get as much resources in those classrooms, let's go. So whatever we can do, I think we want to be able to keep climbing, because we're close to that top 10. We're getting there,
Mr.
So-
Susan, I also want to note that you're doing good work when we go to the superintendent summit and all the principals are together, and these are the people that we're pushing the most, and she gets cheered for louder than anybody else. So I'm like, you know what, Ms. Harris, you are doing it, so.
Yep, that's it. No, thank you, Ms. Harris. Dr. Rendell, yeah, let's give him a round of applause. Dr. Rendell, do you have any other, we're like Guy Harvey, we're getting paintings, we're getting all of these grades coming out. Like, what else do we have, Dr. Rendell, in store?
I don't have any other surprises.
Oh, okay.
I do want to add on to a couple of comments or themes. Mr. Trent mentioned it. I think Mr. Susan kind of mentioned it about it's not just curriculum instruction, it's not just school leadership, it's student services, curriculum instruction, school leadership, ET, finance. Everybody's working together. There was a time where pods here didn't talk to each other. There were silos, and everybody did independent work. And as a building level principal, I remember I would get one message from one pod and a different message from another pod, or one message from one silo and one message from a different silo. And hopefully we've eliminated that. Hopefully we're working together. Everybody has a unified message about the work and how we go about the work. And I think we do, because the results are indicating that we do. But, as was mentioned, the goalposts have moved. 65 is now 70. And so we were at 68% points, so we've got to get at least 2% more points to get to 70. So, but we welcome the challenge.
We got to go after it. Dr. Rendell, you and I were in Henry Mack's appointment for Education Commissioner, and I wanted you guys to know Dr. Rendell got up and said all the great things inside of our district. And normally, the chairs and everybody else don't pay attention. But there were some points that Dr. Rendell had that they popped up and looked at them, and then they were asking questions, talking about zero cost for some of our builds, talking about a lot of the different stuff. So Dr. Rendell, I know right now we're talking about grades, but overall, you're doing a great job in our district, and I just want to say thank you.
Mr. Susan?
Yeah.
Just before
Would
we
you
move
like
on-
some chat GTP terms? You can.
No,
you
I
can
can't,
join
I
in?
can't outdo you on
No?
that one.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention two groups that just want to make sure they get acknowledged too, because they're the kind of groups that if things are going wrong, that we hear about them all the time, and if things are going right, that we don't hear anything. And that's
Is that the
facilities.
school board?
Facilities and transportation.
Yeah.
And, transportation got all of our kids to school on time and home safely last year, and did all the things. We didn't have to fight all the problems that you guys had in years past. And facilities-wise, the schools air conditions are getting fixed and things are getting repaired on time. and the kids are able to learn because we have great facilities. So I just want to make sure we acknowledge those two groups as well. And Dr. Rendell, thank you for all you did, because you've led the entire, all these different groups, and it wouldn't have happened without your vision. So great job and much appreciated.
All right. We're now on to the consent agenda. Oh, wait.
Public comment.
We are now on to the public comments portion, because we kind of jumped around. We have, how many speakers, Mr. Gibbs? Six. No, that's not many. Number of speakers, and each will receive 3 minutes. Our attorney will call the speakers in the order which they're signed up to speak. Mr. Gibbs, please call the first 3 speakers.
Bill Pearlman, Erica Orris, Quinn Dykes.
Perlman, Orris, and what was the third one?
Quinn Dykes.
Quinn. I think that's her in the back. That's you. You don't want to speak? You want to come back at the end? No. Okay. Now we're down to 5. Dang it. Okay, hang
Dr.
on, Mr.
Rendell,
Perlman.
members
Hang
of
on,
the
hang on,
school
hang on. I
board.
don't want you
I
to
know
get
you need
cut
to get
out.
your
I don't want you
finger
to
by
get cut
that
out
stop
anywhere.
button.
Okay, here we go. Go.
Dr. Rendell and members of the school board, I'm Bill Pearlman. Tonight I'd like to address item F26, the contract for elevator service and repair. So what the public doesn't know is that the district has over 50 elevators and wheelchair lifts that need to be serviced each month by a state-certified elevator service provider. This contract that's on the agenda tonight was originally set to be approved at the board meeting on May 26th. It was a multi-year contract with the current provider. The issue is that a board member intervened on May 26th to deny that contract, to amend it so that it would be for a shorter period of time. It's on tonight's agenda for a shorter period of time so that it would come up for renewal sooner, so that a member of her church would have the opportunity to bid on the contract. These facts are not in dispute. It's all part of the public record. Mrs. Wright, you intervened because, in your words, someone at your church wants to bid on the contract. Someone that the district has not contracted with before, someone that may not even have the correct certifications. I can't speak to your motivation, Mrs. Wright, but there is irrefutable appearance of impropriety. I'm sure you'll defend your actions as harmless, maybe even well-intentioned, but I think you should understand that when someone approaches you to help them get a contract, you have an obligation to direct them to the appropriate channels, the same channels that any potential vendor would go through. So the public really has every right to be concerned that a board member intervened on behalf of someone from their church. This is a matter for public scrutiny and perhaps even an ethics review. I hope that we all agree that school board procurement should be transparent and free from personal or religious favoritism. Brevard Public Schools manages our ethics policies, complaints, and professional standards through professional standards, through the Professional Standards and Labor Relations Department. And I would ask that because of Mrs. Wright's departure from acceptable protocol related to this item, I'm respectfully requesting that Mrs. Wright receive additional training from the Department of Professional Standards and Labor Relations. This will help mitigate potential conflicts of interest while also ensuring that the procurement process remains equitable for all parties involved going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perlman.
Erica Orris, Christine Cruz, Paul Raub.
Hi, everybody. And I am speaking on AI policy 7540.08. And I have a question. So before this policy moves forward, what protections prevent a student's personal information, a schoolwork, image, or educational record from being entered into an artificial intelligence system, retained by a vendor, or used to train a commercial model? And will the student be limited to district-approved platforms, and when will parents be notified or ask for consent?
We can't communicate back and forth,
We can't.
but when you're finished,
I always do
I'll
this
say
wrong,
something.
but nonetheless, so
I
then,
gotcha.
so, yeah, that's really all my concern was, so, because there's nothing really in there, so. So you can answer me later?
yeah, no, I think what I was going to say, we're going to get to the policy, and a lot of that's inside there, so we'll script that out. It comes up later on, so thank you. We'll make sure we address it when it comes up. You're awesome. All right. Who
Christine
else?
Cruz, Paul Raub, Sandra Picard.
Ms. Cruz.
Hi, my name is Christine Cruz, and I'm going to speak on F2, the workshop Rule Development and Policy Revisions of the Public Hearing Minutes. Anyone say I can't?
Hang on.
Because it is a violation of my First Amendment rights if you aren't
Just
gonna
hang
let
on
me
just a second, ma'am.
speak about
Just hang
something
on,
the
please.
agenda.
Just hang on. Just hang on. Mr. Gibbs?
Board policy accepts, and Florida statute accepts approval of minutes as ministerial, so it is not open to public comment.
But you can talk about it after the meeting. Absolutely.
I'll
There's a-
come
there's-
back next time so it's on public record because you guys are doing a disservice to the Brevard Public
it's-
School District and the students, but I will speak about something else on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm going to speak about G1. Would you like to look that up to make sure it's on the agenda?
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah. I mean,
You should stop my minutes because you didn't tell me if I could. speak.
You're the one that, we're waiting on
Okay.
you.
I'm going to talk about the expulsion and the diversion program that you have been treating our public school students to. And I'm also going to explain to your constituents why none of the students ever show up when they're being expelled from school. I'm going to read something from the diversion program contract that's also in the behavioral contract that's given to students that's put on this program. It is meant for the students to be expelled, and it's also meant to mute them from being able to talk in front of the board about what's going on. So, if your child winds up on a behavioral program or the diversion program, they are not allowed to speak in front of the board about their expulsion, because in order to sign the contract, you have to agree not to speak in front of the board. So I'm going to read it to you. The student and their parents hereby waive their right to the due process hearing before the school board of Brevard County and do consent to the entry of the final order of expulsion by the school board of Brevard County, Florida, and its meeting without further necessity of taking testimony or conducting any further hearing in the matter. If you do not agree to that in this contract, then you have to abide by the following. I decline the disciplinary placement provided by Brevard Public Schools. I understand that it is my responsibility to enroll my child in an educational program of my choice within 5 school days of the date of this meeting. Failure to do so will result in a full expulsion from the Brevard Public Schools. And the parent has to pay for either home education, adult education, or private school. Thus, I feel the contract is extremely biased and benefits Brevard Public School District and doesn't allow your constituents, students, or parents to discuss what happens with the disciplinary program. In addition, you guys are making the disciplinary program exceptionally more punitive this upcoming next they discuss the workshop. So students are going to be finding out that they're going to have additional punishments because of what you guys are deciding to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Raub and Sandra Picard.
Evening. Couple of items under the umbrella of G1. As far as part number 5771, the search and seizure amendments, there is a section in there that authorizes random searches of selected segments of the population, of the student population, I think was the exact wording, which is pretty vague. I understand we can't prescribe everything, but I would like to hear, hopefully, when we get to discussion, what kind of guardrails there might be around that random selection. Is it truly random? What do segments of the population mean? Are we going to be tracking that kind of thing? Because we do have some history of disproportionate punitive measures in some schools and some segments of the population over others. So I would like to know how we're keeping an eye on that. And then on to 7540.08, the AI policy. It's one part procedural and one part the content of the policy concerns me. Procedurally, Mr. Susan, on the, I believe the Fire of Liberty show, which is, you guys can name things, you mentioned that you brought in noted AI expert, the chairman of the local chapter of Moms for Liberty, to consult on the AI policy, and in fact rescheduled, added an extra hearing on it at their request. Not clear what actually went into that, but I haven't heard of any other organizations, particularly with any organizations that would actually have expertise in this area or are not opposed to the free flow of information. That's just, an odd little thing to flex on. But as far as the actual nature of the policy, the fact that it specifies and I believe restricts us to closed AI models specifically makes me wonder if someone more technical hadn't been consulted on this, or with that might sound comforting that we're going with commercial entities and they're vetted or whatever, they're bought by other people, but we're talking about things being brought into the classroom, into part of our students' education, interacting with their data, et cetera, that are data sets we can't see, code we cannot evaluate, and also, there's a profit model attached, there's a business model attached, not that may or may not in any way coincide with the best interest of the students. Whereas with open models, all those problems go away. The code is available. The data sets are available. They'll lag slightly in performance, but this is a school, this isn't NASA. We don't need to be on the very, very cutting edge when generally the open models catch up in performance in several months. And the cost is far, far lower as well. So I would love for that to get some reconsideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Sandra Picard.
Dr. Rendell. Good evening, I'm Sandra Picard. I may be speaking about something that's not on your list of policy items, but it has more to do with the educational facilities impact allocation, item number 46 on your agenda. Is that something that's already been dealt with
No, ma'am.
elsewhere?
You can speak to that.
I may speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's part of the agenda.
Thank you. And really, it's just a matter of congratulating Ms. Hahn and Ms. Black, who were brave enough to take their show on the road with an exploratory group at Stone Middle School last week, where we were educated as to the facts of life about what maybe needs to be done to keep our students in the public school system. So my hat's off to them, and I thank them. The one thing I noticed is that the calculations that go into looking at available money seem to be retrospective. It's a 5-year circulating system where we look at how many students we've had, and therefore we sort of guess that things will be about the same. We're still in an area of Florida with explosive growth. I think Palm Bay has an even greater issue in some ways than Melbourne. But with my heart belonging to Stone Middle School, I would just point out that that area has 360 acres under construction at the moment within a mile of the school. And so I know that for some people, looking at the raw utilization number, which looks to be under 50% at the moment, may sort of say, well, here, let's get our chopping tool out and reduce that school. But I just want to say there's a lot going on, and I know that the attention of the facilities team is looking west of 95, but I just want to say there's still some area south of the main city of Melbourne that still warrants attention and investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it? That concludes agenda items only for public comments. We thank you for taking your time off your schedule to address the board with your concerns and suggestions. I would like to remind the public that the board is accessible for further conversations outside of our business meeting through scheduling a meeting and emailing us. We are now on to the consent agenda. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 46 items under the list in this category.
Thank you, Dr. Rendell. Does
Wait,
any board
Mr.
member wish?
Susan, before we get a motion, F11 did not get the attachments put on it, so the public does not have notice of those documents, so I would request a motion to approve without F11.
Hang on just a second. Let me-
Yeah, it'd be pulled, so it'd be a motion without,
But you'll need a motion to approve.
yeah, everything but F11, yeah.
Right.
So you're saying that we can't do it because
The
it wasn't
public
there?
doesn't have an opportunity to speak to it because, yeah, there's no attachments.
I mean, can we just put it at the back and put it on
Yeah,
there?
but
We can actually open up a public comment specifically to that one comment.
The public
They haven't had a
hasn't
chance
had
to
time to
review.
review it.
Oh, they need to have a
yeah.
chance to review it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't have
Okay.
the requisite time, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item F11.
Second. Paul, roll call, please.
All right, Mr. Trent? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, with the approval of the consent agenda minus F11, we did approve the naming of Riverstone Separate Day School. This is a brand-new school that we're building in Rockledge for students with special needs. We do have some officials from Riverstone here, so I'd like to give them the opportunity to speak and address the board and the community. This is a great thing for Brevard County. We've never had a separate day school operated by the district before, and I'll let Misty and the crew talk about that.
I think I'm a little short here. So, good evening. I'd like to extend my sincere appreciation to the board chair, board members, Dr. Rendell, and all the CASIC members sitting back there. You're helping for my size here,
Not that
for
far.
my height deficit. So in 2023, I invited the board to join me on a field trip. And all of you showed up that were on the board at that time. And we visited a neighboring separate day school. And I think that that visit helped us envision what was possible and reaffirmed what we already knew, that our students deserve the same opportunities as all other students. And so they can have the same pride in the school that they attend and get the same resources as everybody else. Throughout this journey of building this new school, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize a few individuals whose guidance has been instrumental in this progress. Mr. Raymer and Ms. Han, they provided consistent leadership and support throughout the development of this new school. Their encouragement, expertise, and dedication has played a significant role in the new school of Riverstone's growth, and I'm truly grateful for all that they have done. So I'd like to recognize Ms. Poley and Ms. O'Connor for their leadership along the way. Their hard work and dedication and commitment to our students have strengthened the school year after year. But without the teachers at that school, the school wouldn't exist. So while I would say thank you to everybody, my heart really pours out to the teachers. They show up every single day, and they give their all to those students, and those students are better because of it, and Brevard is better because of it. So as we move forward as Riverstone K-12 school, I'm incredibly proud of what we've built together. I truly believe that Riverstone will one day be a model school, the one that others learn from and come to visit us, and we don't have to visit them. More importantly, it'll continue to be a place where students feel valued, supported, and every opportunity given to be successful. To the board and Dr. Rendell, thank you once again for believing in this vision. From the very beginning, your support, encouragement, and commitment to the students have made all of this possible. Thank you for your continued support of Riverstone K-12 school, and most importantly, to your dedication to the students we serve every single day.
Thank you.
So at this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Poley. She is the principal of Gardendale and the new, soon-to-be brand-new school, Riverstone.
So, good evening, school board members, district leaders, staff, families, community partners. Tonight's really a special moment for our entire school community. After more than a year of discussion, research, community input, and collaboration, we're excited to celebrate the approval of our school's new name as we prepare to open our new campus in just a few short months. The decision wasn't made quickly or lightly. It reflects the voices of students, families, staff, and community members who help shape a name that honors our values, reflects our vision, and positions us for an exciting future. Riverstone K-12 School is a name that connects to the history of Rockledge, which we look forward to joining that community very soon, and a fresh start for the staff and students who have diligently worked to become the school we have grown to be over the past 4 years. On behalf of our entire school community, I want to thank Dr. Rendell, the school board members, district leaders, all stakeholders, and especially Misty Bland, who really spearheaded this project and helped guide me in leading the students and staff of our campus. I also want to thank everyone who participated, shared ideas, and remained committed to finding a name that we can all proudly embrace. As we move on to our new campus, the new name represents more than a building or a sign. It represents opportunity, growth, innovation, and a shared commitment to student success. Together, the Riverstone Raptors will rise to our highest potential. We look forward to opening our doors under our new name and beginning this exciting new chapter together. Thank you very much.
Hang on, don't go anywhere. You guys want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, like, don't go anywhere, don't run off.
Yes.
Go ahead, because we were all there today, and probably everybody wants to talk, so Miss Campbell seems like she's
yeah.
really excited over here.
I
so
am super excited because Ms. Blaine went back to 2023, but I want to go back to 2022 because there's so much confusion in the public who haven't been paying attention over the last 4 years. So I would love to get some of those questions answered. So why are we opening this new school? Why are we doing all this? So in 2022, we used to have 2 separate day schools, a north and a south, and that company that we contracted with came in the summer of 22, right after the school year ended, and said, we're done, breaking the contract. And with 6 weeks to put something together, the staff here at ESF put something to, and we didn't have teachers. Those were their teachers, not our teachers. Grabbed teachers, grabbed administrators, picked a place, which at the time, the place that we had open was Gardner Elementary, where we had the North ALC up there, and facilities threw together just something, and it was just crazy. And in 6 weeks, miracles happened, and we thought, we're going to do this for a year. The next year, the same company said, yeah, we're not coming back. And so we had a little bit longer that time to improve the facilities, to make them really work. And so that's why we have Gardendale, and you guys did amazing work with a facility that was not built for those students. And so many people have said, why don't you put this school in one of the schools you just closed down? Like we just closed down a bunch of schools. First of all, we didn't. We closed one, and it's even farther out of the way. And part of the problem with Gardendale, and I love Merritt Island, is that it's so far out of the way for the majority of the students, and it's such a long bus ride. And by putting it in Rockledge, putting it there on the campus with Kennedy Middle School, we're putting it in a more central location that is more easily accessed for students from MEMS to Malabar. And so I just so much appreciate that. And also for people who don't understand, like this is not just, people have said, well, why aren't you, I thought we were doing inclusion, and this is, the least restrictive environment. There are students that we have, a very small number of students that we have, who the least restrictive environment for them is a separate day school. But tell me, Ms. Poley, how many students, ballpark, I know we had 5 students graduate this year, but you had 1 student he's graduating, but these are students who stay with us till they're 21, right? He actually is going back into a regular school for his up to 21 program, right? So how regular is it that students are meeting their goals and able to kind of transition back into the regular school setting?
So this past year, I think we had approximately, I think it was 9 students that left us and have been successful on their least restrictive placement, which would be their next step down from us. And that's continued to grow each year that we've been there. We've continued to increase that number.
That is so good. I just want to make sure people understood that we're not putting these kids away where they'll never be seen. In this new building, so exciting, it's going to have CTE labs and spaces designed just for them so they can have more experiences and be more successful, and I'm super excited about it. So I just wanted to make sure we had that opportunity to share those details, because there's a lot of confusion as to why we're doing it and what it's going to be. But we were there today. It's going to be beautiful, and I'm so excited we're able to really do what's best for these kids. Sorry, I went long.
Good. No, you take as much time as you want. I'm not.
When I first got elected, some of my colleagues had said that you have to go over to Orlando and see that school. And Misty, I would say that, when I went there and I caught that your excitement was contagious. And I came back really excited about this project. And I know that, we will be the place that everybody comes to tour under both your all's direction and leadership. So thank you for all you did to get it to this point, because I know that was a largely your drive that pushed it, Misty. And you got everybody excited and moving forward with it. So thank you.
Yeah, basically same of the same. It also is, you had mentioned it's exciting to be part of the Rockledge community. The Rockledge community is going to be excited to have you guys there as well. What a service we're providing these students. And again, we were all over there today. It is going to be, you're going to have time set aside for other counties coming in to tour this facility. And but what was the most exciting part about today? It wasn't the building, it wasn't the downpour of rain that we got. It was meeting your staff. They are so excited. If you don't know, they had busloads of staff coming over. And when we just don't say that building is not going to be there if it wasn't for you in the building. That means everything. I could just see it on their faces that they were just excited. They weren't excited about for themselves. They're going to be in a new building, but what it's going to mean for what they're going to provide for those students. So we're all blessed right now. We got great numbers. This is like celebrating we should be hoisting a Super Bowl trophy up here because of everything that's happening in Brevard. So it's a great time to be here, but little extra for you, Misty. I've seen you in times where you weren't as excited about the future of what we were able to do, because you were just handcuffed and we just didn't look so bright, the future. I remember the conversation where we're like, this is what we have. And I remember the conversation we had. It might have been about another school, and then I just said, then we need to change that. And, a few years later, I'm glad you stuck around. It takes a unique person to see this through. And Misty, you're that person, and thank you for sticking around. But the future's bright, and even at Riverstone, so I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to echo the same sentiments. Honestly, I have said all along, I'm like, Ms. Bland needs to get a lot of credit, because I remember when I first got on this board, you intentionally saying, Ms. Wright, come and see the school. And I didn't fully understand. I think a lot of people didn't understand, because we were like, wait a minute, Gardendale, separate day school. We have the Alternative Learning Center there. There was a lot of confusion that there was two schools that were running out of the same location. And then you started to reveal the story of the why we are where we were. And the district did everything they possibly could with limited resources and zero time at all. So kudos for standing that school up. But it was very apparent from the minute I walked in, like, this facility just doesn't serve our most vulnerable students. And I just thank you. I thank you for advocating. And I know there's probably days when you thought this is never going to change and this is going to be what it is. And, and sometimes it feels like that because things don't move as quickly, but you were relentless on advocating continually. And that just shows your dedication to those students that are there. So, and to the community that came out today, I think that was probably one of the neatest things to see all of your people show up in their shirts. And I'm like, this is going to be their future home. And they were able to write words of encouragement on the walls before they got painted and we got downpoured and rained on. But it just made it a very personal moment. And so I just thank you. Thank you for leading fearlessly. Ms. Polly, thank you for leading fearlessly, because I know the job is very, very difficult, but it's very, very meaningful. And for children that start out the gate with more challenges than any of us can really even face or ever think about facing, for us to give them an environment where they can thrive is just really something special. So I'm grateful to be a part of this team. I said this will be the single thing that I am the most proud of. If nothing else happened on this board since I've been on here in 4 years, this one thing, launching this school, I will be the most proud of. So thank you for all that you're doing.
Really awesome being there today. Like everybody said, your staff is really excited. I asked a couple of them, I was talking to them, I think we were all collaborating with them, moving around, and the construction teams are moving hard and they're doing stuff. I hope they're doing everything that you need them to do custom-wise and everything else. Mr. Trent did say that you might have other districts coming over. You don't ever have to let them in. In fact, if you want to, no, you don't. You just tell them no. Just tell them no, especially if they're below us on the scores. Like, we're going to go ahead and say no to them, or above us. Yeah, it's just, you got too much time with your kids. If they want to come by and see some pictures, they can go do that. But I just wanted to say thank you to all your work. You definitely are rallying the teams, anything from your perspective that we need. And I'm sure that this facility, after it starts humming and we get the lights on and everything else, that it'll be better than the one we went to go see. And I can't wait to go see some of it, because I used to work very closely with Brevard Achievement Center and some of their career and technical programs that they had over there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that whole piece comes together for them, because this population, when they find that they can do something and accomplish something, it goes so much further than some of the other children that are there. So I just wanted to say thank you for all that. And thank you. That's it. Dr. Rendell, do you have any other great presentations?
I do not.
My son was so concerned about what your mascot was, so I wrote it down, the Raptors.
Yes.
Because he was like, he said, oh, he goes, well, what kind of name is that, Dad? You don't know what you're doing. What is their mascot? And I said, well, I'll make the suggestion. What do you want it to be? He says, Megalodons. That's what they have to be, Megalodons.
close. Our students would probably like that, but they actually picked Raptors from the first
That's
day.
cool. So when you guys do, we have to have you guys be a part of the mascot Olympics that are coming in January. And we'll bring them all out. Yeah. We got that coming. So, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're going to do a picture. You're going to bring your staff up and do like a fun thing? All right, Dr. Rendell, is that what you want to do? It was Ms. Campbell that made the suggestion, Dr. Rendell.
We do have a couple of staff members. I
Yeah.
think some of them went home after
Well, some
they
of them
got
are right
rained
there.
on.
But-
But we had
but
two,
the-
but we do, we have two
the
more
real
staff
deal's
members,
still
yes.
there.
But I'm saying
They're cheering
all
us
of the
on.
ones that showed up are not here because of
That's
the
okay.
rain. But they're here in heart.
Listen,
Probably
we did
watching.
get drenched. I saw some of them walking across there, and they were trudging through like this much water, and they were just going. I was like, man, yeah.
Mine are
Let's
still
take some
squeaky.
pictures, though. Thank you for staying. That's your hardcore right there. Let's go. Here. All right. Okay, Dr. Rendell, you good? Hey, listen, the last four I've gotten, all been. Policy revisions, final board approval on the following policies. Policy 5610, is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? Is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell? Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Policy 5771, is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? Oh, okay. Mr. Perlman, you don't have to hurry. You're fine. We won't hurry. Yeah, I'll get you. I'll get you real here good. I got you. Actually, I hadn't actually even turned that piece on yet, but thank you for reminding me. All right, let me know. You go when you're ready.
So I recognize that this policy is attempting a really difficult balance to protect student privacy while prioritizing safety. But the effectiveness of this balance really depends on several things: staff training, consistent application, and respect for both student rights and the need for a secure student environment. I do have a problem with some of the language of this policy, especially reasonable suspicion, appropriate circumstances, and the use of the word random. This policy allows searches based on reasonable suspicion, but does not define what constitutes reasonable suspicion. The ambiguity will lead to inconsistent application and subjective interpretation by staff, increasing the risk of unfair or discriminatory searches. For example, one staff member might interpret a student's nervous behavior as reasonable suspicion, while another may not, leading to unequal treatment. School authorities are permitted to search students, their property, or vehicles without the student's consent based on this policy, as long as there is reasonable suspicion. I'm really concerned about the overreach. The policy requires that searches of a student's person or intimate belongings be conducted by a staff member of the same gender if available, and in the presence of another staff member of the same gender if available. What could go wrong? Administrators are authorized to use breath test instruments to determine if a student has consumed alcohol. Some studies and legal reviews estimate that roughly 23% of breath tests can yield false blood alcohol readings. If a student fails a breath test due to a medical condition or even a recent rinse with mouthwash, they could face severe discipline without recourse. School administrators are not trained law enforcement, and they should not act with the same authority as law enforcement. This policy allows staff to walk around with handheld wands, and if it alerts, they could justify a more intrusive search. Anyone here ever get a false alert from a metal detector or a wand? Yeah, everyone. This policy relies too much on trust because it doesn't define some very important terms, and the superintendent and this board have not nurtured or established trust from our community. This poorly written policy requires too much trust. This policy will lead to significant problems. It's inevitable.
Thank you, Mr. Perlman. Anybody else who wishes to address this item? Okay.
Erica Orris, and now I'm getting the hang of how you guys are doing this. Okay, so with this search and seizure policy, it intersects with our parental rights and student privacy and due process. And especially as we expand our AI-related policies in 7540.08. The investigation, any of these investigations, they don't happen in a vacuum. So it must follow the protections outlined in Policy 5771. And that means that schools cannot search and seize the student's personal device without reasonable suspicion. And they cannot demand access to home devices or private accounts simply because an assignment appears to be AI generated. AI detection tools are not reliable, and suspicion alone does not meet the standard requirements for a lawful search. But it also requires transparency, and parents must be notified when a search involves personal property, and they have the right to access any records created during this investigation, including teacher notes, AI detection reports, and disciplinary documentation. These become educational records protected under FERPA. Students, too, are entitled to due process. They must be told the specific allegation, shown the evidence, and given an opportunity to explain or demonstrate their work. They have the right to challenge the accuracy of the AI detection tools and to provide drafts or oral explanations. Any disciplinary action must be proportionate, documented, and appealable. We must move forward with AI policy 7540.08. It is
Miss
essential.
Orris,
Am I
Miss Orris,
over?
we'll have time to talk about the AI policy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But the
it's
whole
okay.
thing
You
is.
did real well at the
yes.
beginning. You were talking about how they got, and then we started getting
Yeah.
off. If we-
All right, I'm
we got
getting
time.
into the whole thing, but, all right, we'll talk about more of that later.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to address this item? Anybody else who wishes to address this item? Hearing none, move to approve?
Mr. Susan?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make a motion to approve it, but I just would like to say, if we were to make any change on any of these policies, we have to repost it and all that, go through the whole process. I would just like to say, the point about making a definition, like reasonable suspicion is a very common term used in law enforcement. I would just say it would not be, for next year's policy or when we go to revise them, throwing a definition for clarification is not a bad idea.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I was like, Paul, reasonable suspicion is actually a legal term, correct?
Yes, it's
Okay.
well defined by the Supreme Court. So.
Okay, so even though we don't have a definition, it is a
Correct.
clearly
There is
defined
a legal standard, yeah.
definition.
But I think his argument is that we should put it in there.
Yes.
My point
Yes,
is
so I
just,
just wanted to make
not
sure
everybody
tonight-
knows what the legal definition is, so that would just
Exactly.
make it clear.
Yep.
Yeah, I did want to point out too that some of the objections that were made don't have anything to do with the changes we're having, the things of staff training, and I understand concern about the same gender if available, and way that when that was addressed a few years ago is we have many schools where the principal is an elementary school. Everybody always thinks about secondary high school, but that principal is a female, and the assistant principal is a female.
And 90% of the
and if
staff
you
is
have
a
an
female.
elementary student who needs to be searched, there's you do what you can, and that's why it's all if available. But I wanted just to address the only changes, the changes we're making. Someone did address one of the things that were the changes, and that had to do with the ones. I thought it might be helpful, Dr. Rendell, if we could, because there is that new line on letter K that talks about the random screenings and what that might look like. It's my understanding that if we have a school that, let's say, doesn't have open gate yet, we could bring our portable open gate one day and drop it in the bus loop, and all the kids would come off the bus, and that it would be that kind of a thing, or other opportunities. Could you, either you or have staff kind of explain what that might look like, so it would allay those fears of it being
Sure, so
targeted?
there could be several scenarios where we decide to do a screening of a group, a selected group. So for example, we got a tip that a student in a certain classroom has contraband or weapon or something like that, then we would search the entire class, that kind of thing. So if we have reason to believe we have some other contraband on campus, and we might bring the drug dogs on campus and stuff like that. So
Right.
those are some of the scenarios and this is standard, this is not really new.
Right.
There are other districts around the state too who do random searches literally every single day. They go to different classrooms and randomly search students. So it's pretty standard practice. I've gone to one of those districts
Yeah.
and toured them and seen this take place, and I was like, wow, that just happens after they've already gone through your weapons detection device. Yep, they do it every single day.
We're
And
not
I'm
doing
like,
anything that's unusual.
wow, okay, well.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much. Anybody else, discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
All right, Mr. Trent? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Public comment is closed.
Yep. Okay,
For that one, no, just one.
policy 6320, is there anyone wishes to address this item? Okay, Mr. Perlman.
6320 is procurement and contracting, and in this policy, Dr. Rendell is seeking policy changes that would increase his authority to approve contracts without requiring school board approval. It also allows the superintendent to add an additional $50,000 to previous awarded contracts without board approval.
It's not true.
Let me explain my objections to this policy. 2018, Dr. Rendell's final year as superintendent in Indian River County, prior to them firing him, the district discovered that approximately $2.3 million had been improperly transferred.
Hang on just a second.
Let it go.
Let it go?
It's okay, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for not violating my rights.
Yep.
This begs the question of whether Dr. Rendell personally directed the unsound accounting practices. This incident exposed weaknesses in financial controls and internal oversight, which Dr. Rendell was responsible for. Before Dr. Rendell was fired from Indian River, just before you hired him for Brevard, some Indian River school board members cited concerns in his evaluation, specifically about finances. This policy reduces direct oversight. This increases risk. Reducing oversight is a weakening of safeguards. So this is on you, board. The public will hold you accountable for issues that arise as a result. Now, separately, but in the same policy, it also adds new language that allows the district to cancel a contract with a vendor if they feel the vendor made defamatory statements about the district. Who decides what's defamatory? You? The board? I'm concerned about selective enforcement, which is something you already have been doing with your public comments policy. That's why you lost a lawsuit this year to the tune of $570,000 due to viewpoint discrimination. This policy could also chill legitimate criticism. Vendors frequently discover problems involving project delays, safety concerns, waste, inefficiencies. If a vendor knows that publicly criticizing the district could jeopardize their contracts, they may remain silent even when their concerns are legitimate. That can reduce transparency, and although I recognize that transparency is something that Mr. Trent hates, it's something the community demands. Clearly, there are First Amendment concerns about this. I don't even know where to start on that. But finally, we don't need this language because you already have existing legal remedies. If a vendor makes defamatory statements, the district can pursue a defamation lawsuit if the legal standard is met. So my concern is that, one, by reducing oversight, you increase the risk of fiscal mismanagement of the district's $1.6 billion budget, and you're inviting expensive lawsuits if you disqualify vendors for perceived criticism. This is a bad policy.
So I would like to kind of respond. There is not an,
Motion, yeah. Need a motion, a second.
Move to approve.
Second.
If there's not anybody.
any discussion? So first off, anybody who comes to the public speaking, many people don't understand that they can just randomly talk. So there is no, the speaker was incorrect about the increase with Dr. Rendell. We took care of that. The other thing that was kind of really disrespectful was to take the situation that was happening in Indian River and apply it somehow to this, which, just so everybody understands, the facts is that the Attorney General cleared Dr. Rendell of any of those financial issues, and when he was being hired, it was an issue that came up, and I provided a copy to every single board member that cleared him. So those are some of the false statements, and we don't appreciate when people just randomly yell in the back of the room. You had your opportunity. Anybody else?
Yeah, I did want to clarify, it's confusing, and I think the speaker made it more confusing. We did not raise the limits of what Dr. Rendell can approve, but we did raise what he can approve when it comes to amendments and change orders. That's a specific thing if they are non-monetary amendments or if they are amendments of 20% or $50,000, whichever is less. So when construction projects don't have to be brought back to us if they're large multi-million-dollar projects and there's a small change order, it doesn't have to come back to the board. That's what we increased on this. I did want to address, because we've had a lot of conversation about defamation, but Paul, is criticism the same as defamation?
No.
Is criticism the same as verbal or physical abuse?
No.
Is criticism the same as threatening a district employee?
No.
So I would say that our item, since that's language, it includes verbal or physical abuse, threatening an employee, making defamatory statements. Since it's not the same as criticism, people are welcome to criticize all they want. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Just one point I'd like to make regarding the procurement and contracting. Dr. Rendell was the one that suggested not making those changes. When there were some concerns that were brought up, he was the one that came back to us and said that he did not want to make those changes. So just so he gets credit for that. It was not imposed on him. He was the one that suggested to not move forward with those.
Okay? Everybody good? Just so everybody understands, speakers aren't always right. Next up, policy 7540.02. Oh, go ahead. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Policy 7540, is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? Is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? 7540.02. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval? Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Next up, policy 7540.03. Is there anyone who wishes to address this item? Is there anyone who wishes to address this item? Hearing none. Move to approve.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent. Ms. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Susan.
Aye.
Ms. Campbell. Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Policy 7540.04. Is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? Is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent.
Aye.
Ms. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Susan.
Aye.
Ms. Campbell. Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
We're going to have a lengthy conversation about the AI, or are we going to move pretty quick? I was just going to say, because I would, yeah, I know, but I was going to jump in and use the restroom real quick, but okay. All right, policy 7540.08. Is there anyone present who wishes to address this item? This is the AI program.
Yeah, this would be.
Is there anyone who wishes to address this item? Did you want to address this item? Okay. Well, it's up to you. We don't really, I mean, we wrote down your notes. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Okay, anybody else? Okay. Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussions? Now we go into it.
Not a lengthy discussion, but because it was brought up, there were
Keep it
questions
lengthy so I can use the restroom.
about student information protections, which this revision of the policy specifically addresses. And even if it didn't specifically say in this policy, our employees are bound by FERPA to make sure that our student information is protected. But Mr. Cheatham shared with us last week when we had our last public hearing that this language, we specifically repeated that type of language in this policy to make sure it's ultra clear that student information must be protected. And employees are not actually allowed to put student information into the AI platforms for that reason. Anything with any kind of identifying information. They want to use it to help create a lesson or do those things, but not student information. That was addressed specifically in this policy. Or something else that I had written down. Sorry, I got to go back to my notes.
Parental notification, probably.
Oh, right, parental notification. Part of the policy says that the district will keep a list of the software programs and everything on the district website, which Mr. Cheatham, I'm getting a nod head nod, we're about ready to roll with that, right? Right, but they're adding it right now, so that will be there. And as this, the question of offering closed AI, open AI, this time we're sticking with closed AI for lots of reasons, but I would say that, it's interesting, one of the things we approved on this agenda board is some CTE, in the item that had the CTE fees, like the $5 for your CTE program. We're actually, in our middle schools, there's an AI class certification that that is in there, is approved, and as part of that. So I think where we are right now, this is dipping our proverbial toe into the waters in a safe way. But the other thing that we have to consider is, and Mr. Cheatham shared this with the board several times, is we don't have, it would be almost impossible for us to do opt-in, opt-out for every single software program that we would have. So we have an overall. Your student either has internet access or they don't. And so because we don't have that ability to say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no for every little thing, this is why we're limiting to, I believe, this is one of the reasons why we're limiting to the closed AI platforms, because we want to make sure those parents' concerns are addressed. But I think this policy puts all those pieces in place that people have the most concerns with. And especially when it comes to student information protection. Did I go long enough, Mr. Susan?
You did,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? So the policy creates a committee that oversees any of the inflow of individuals and any AI programs, creates a website that goes ahead and oversees any of them approved so people can go there to see it. There's an approval process from the student classroom, from the teacher to the principal. Principal's held accountable to send it up for the website. We also have disciplinary actions inside of there for student behavior, teacher behavior, principal behavior. So it acts as a kind of an umbrella. One of the things that we're going to do is the actual applications is known as administrative procedures. That's where we put together how the committee is going to be formed, what the forms are going to look like when they come out for you know what I mean? All of those different pieces that are integral to it, you don't put that on there because we change those. So the form might need some extra verbiage, they might need this. We don't want to have to go through another 28-day process. So we keep it kind of like a constitutionary overview, and then we have the individual pieces inside of it that are applied. So when you were talking about some of your issues, they're addressed inside of there. Anybody else have anybody? Okay, we're good? All right. Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Yeah, I was asked to take over the mid-level school districts for AI now, so I'm the representative. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, let me get through here. All right, Dr. Rendell, will you please let us know about the item under the action portion of today's agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first action item is H1, charter contract renewal with Imagine Schools at West Melbourne.
Do I hear a motion? Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Paul, roll call, please.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Yeah, aye.
Ms. Campbell? Aye. Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
We will move on to the information agenda, which includes 0 items for board review and may be brought back for action in a subsequent meeting. No action will be taken on this item today. Does any board member wish to discuss these items?
No information items.
There's no
Dr.
information
There are
items to
none.
discuss.
Yeah, whatever. All right, Dr. Rendell, do you have anything?
I do not.
All right, we're now at board reports. Does any board member have anything wishing to further discuss?
I have a couple shout outs I'm going to give.
All right,
and
let's
I know
hear them.
that's one I'm
Wait,
like,
you
I'm
want to go
just gonna-
first? We'll go out of order.
sure.
Yeah, let's do
We'll
it.
go out of order. Okay.
How about you, Ms. Campbell? Wait, you got some?
Yeah, she's got some too, I'm sure.
Mr.
so.
Trent?
It feels like it's been forever since we've had a board meeting, but I'm
It
just going to
does.
give a couple shout outs. So obviously, the superintendent summit, I'm going to let you guys do that one. But I want to give a shout out to Brevard Schools Foundation. They were so gracious to pack, I think, how many backpacks did we end up packing, Ms. Campbell? Was it 2,000?
2,500.
Okay, so just want to thank all the volunteers that showed up, served on their Saturday, 2 Saturdays in a row, actually, but stuffing backpacks to give out to children that may need those resources. So lots of volunteers, lots of our vendors that we do work with, they showed up, so it was really cool to see some of them show up and give back to the community in that day. Also, I want to give a shout out to my church, I'm going to give a shout out to, which I'm sure this will make some people happy. But they every single year, we pick schools in the North End, they pick schools, I'm not part of this, to intentionally go and help that school with the beautification projects. And so this year, they expanded from 4 schools to 5 schools, and they raise thousands of dollars, and they bring hundreds of volunteers together, and it truly is a time to just descend and love on a school. So I was gracious enough to be part of a team. We had about 75 of us at Space Coast, and boy, was it hot, but boy, we knocked out some projects around there. Just silly things like banners that maybe, we have them hung on the fence, but because it's Florida and we get storms, they get ripped down and they need to be replaced. It doesn't look good when they're halfway hanging off of a fence. So that was one of the projects. We did some major plant beds in the front that just made it look better, get it ready for school. And so I just want to thank the volunteers that gave up their time and their treasure and their talent and came and sweat their rear ends off for multiple hours at the multiple different school sites because I believe it just shows how much our community truly loves our schools. And so thank you to all the members that were a part of that. And that's all that I have.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear.
So I represent the board as the Charter and Choice Liaison. And earlier this month, Dr. Mayer brought together all the charter school principals to, how our BPS principals sometimes come together and they do, like they did last week at the summit, and just have a glut of training. They had all day from like 8 o'clock to 4:30 worth of training, getting all the updates. And as they gave me some time at the end of meeting just to address some questions and talk to them about things that were going on. And one of the things that the charter school principal said to me was, please make sure that you recognize, and they listed off a bunch of people because they have been so helpful to us, so responsive to us, and they really appreciated the training. So I wanted to mention, I know I'm going to miss somebody, but I wanted to give a shout out to some of the people who are part of that training. First of all, Melinda Mayer, she's amazing, and Cheryl Turner, who work, they're kind of our liaisons with the charter schools and make sure that they have all the accountability pieces that they need. And, we approved the extension of a charter tonight, and they make sure that those charter schools are, crossing every T and dotting every I. Also, Dr. Jana Jenkins from Student Services, Frank Stockman, who helps them with a lot of the funding accountability measures, people from HR to talk about certification, like Lynette Thorsten. I'm going to say it wrong. Thorstensen, I did it. And Sharon Doran, Janet Stevenson talked about school improvement plans, and then district security came over and introduced, talked about the walkthroughs and talked about the new app that we're using for security, and so they just were very appreciative. And so kudos to all those team members for putting together that day-long training for our charter schools principals to make sure that they have what they need so that to be accountable. And then Dr. Rendell, I wanted to make sure, since this is our first board meeting after our principal and assistant principal of the year, that make sure we mention those. But then my last one is. Last week, I got to attend the cafeteria manager kickoff. So Kevin Thornton brought all the food nutrition services, the cafeteria managers and the people who are trained to be a cafeteria manager and his leadership team in. They did 3 days of PD. It was so great. There were people from Volusia County coming down to see what they're doing. So food nutrition services always does an amazing job. And at the end, they had an award ceremony where they recognized people who had been with us for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 25 years. We even have a mother-daughter team that the mother is the cafeteria manager down at Jupiter, and her daughter has been working now for 5 years, and she's now the manager at Meadow Lane. So it was just a great time. And they were very sweet to me. But I just wanted to let you know that they all talk to each other, and they know some of the things that I have been to and put the hairnet on. So just expect your invitations. Get your hairnets ready, because they specifically wanted to know, Ms. Campbell, after you're gone, are your board members going to come and do some of these things? I'm like, yes, they will. So just be ready for the invitations, for your hairnet invitations, because we have such great cafeteria staff, and their leaders are doing good things. Thank you.
Anybody else? No. All right. So I wanted to let you guys know one of the unique facts that not many people know is that the Florida La Leche League, which is the breastfeeding moms, have a huge plus with Brevard. And the reason is that we have the only school district in the entire state of Florida that actually has designated breastfeeding rooms for women. And if you know anything about that, what happens is in our schools, not that if you know anything about breastfeeding, but what it is that but I've had a bunch of kids. So, but the thing is that we actually have situations before we did it, and it goes on across the state, where moms will try to breastfeed during the day in school, and they'll have to do it inside their classroom. There's an opportunity for people to walk in. It's really crazy. But we have the longest leave policy, I think, in the state of Florida for moms. It's 6 weeks. So that's
Total number of days, yes.
Total number of days. And the thing is that a lot of our other districts, so anyways, they reached out and they wanted to do a thing with us and say thank you for that. And I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. I'm also going to ask you guys, Dr. Rendell's looking at his dates, but we're going to do that offsite we all agreed to do in September to kind of review for the rest of the year. We also have the Teachers of Years of Service, that we have that project going on. I talked to Mr. Winston over at the zoo, and I was kind of hinting it, and I didn't do a good example of it. We do so much inside the space of our zoos and Guy Harvey and everything else that he said he would like to try to coordinate all of those efforts so it's one website where people can go and see the opportunities. This is when you're going to be doing beach cleanups and all of those things, but then also where they can get somebody that's a volunteer to come in and do some of the zoo stuff inside their schools, like all that in one place where they can go to find out. He's going to help us, assist with us and do that. That was really exciting. We also have the naming of the STEM labs. Remember, we talked about doing that? That's now we got to gear up and go. So that's going to be that they're going to name the astronauts after that. There's a very unique astronaut that's going to oversee the coordination of it. She's amazing. She is very well respected among all of them. I said, I need to know the person that when she picks up or he picks up the phone, other astronauts will answer. And so I asked Mr. Bridges, the man who basically developed the privatization of NASA, and he said, that's her. So we're going to announce her name and do a real big thing, and then she's going to help assist with all of that. I did get named for the AI Central or Mid-Level Districts program overview, so that means that whatever policy we develop, then they will take a look at, and it's in coordination with that coastal communities.
The
Florida. Nah, no, that. It's with, it might be that. It's with the Miami, well,
Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards.
that's it.
That one.
That's it. It's all there. They all have different names, but that's what I was going to do. Also, I wanted to tell you guys, our elementary schools are going to have some competition and in the sports. So I've been walking around talking to some of these other superintendents and principals in other districts. Miami-Dade's challenged us. DeSoto Schools challenged us. Hendricks County Schools challenged us. Hillsborough County Schools challenged us. Orange County challenged us. So they may be bringing over some flag football teams. I talked to Dr. Rendell about it. He said as long as it doesn't bother with staff and we set it up through a third party and it's set up that way, we can do it. So I think we're in a good spot. But that elementary school is about to explode.
I'm just making sure you actually did say that.
We did.
We had that conversation.
Yeah.
Pretty close to that.
And then just wanted to let you guys know, there's an organization run with, it's a kind of a farm-to-table kind of explanation that's really, really cool. It's called Dirt Academy. And so what they did was the Dirt Academy is an organization that basically talks about how you can use your classroom beds and grow all of the different things that you're going to farm to table. So I'm going to move with setting up what we had last year, which was where we grow things inside of our outdoor classrooms that we then use inside of our, for the kids. Like we do a Cinco de Mayo where we grow peppers and tomatoes and then they cut up a couple of them, but then food services brings in like a dip for the day, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So it's really cool, some of that stuff. So I wanted to let you know about that. And then also, I'm going to bring a bunch of policies to the next board meeting to overview, just for you guys to kind of look at, and then we'll bring back some ideas in the future. I want to see where you guys are at on. All right? And they're all stuff that we've already talked about that we wanted to implement. Okay? Everybody got that? All right. With
Mr.
that,
Chair.
Dr. Rendell? Yeah.
Yes, sure. I have several things. Number one, a couple board members mentioned the Superintendent Summit. So it's a two-day training event that we do at the end of the summer. Really, it's kind of a back-to-school event for the leadership teams, the principals and the assistant principals from all of our schools. Some of it's updating them on legislative changes, new policies, new ways of doing things. But it's also time to celebrate. And we announce a couple winners of some certain activities. So one is the Principal of the Year and the Assistant Principal of the Year. So we did announce the Assistant Principal of the Year, and we're going to bring them to a future board meeting to be honored here. But Brian Callanan was an assistant principal at Bayside High School, and he was named Assistant Principal of the Year. He is now at O'Galley High School. So he's taken his talents over to O'Galley, but he earned this for his work at Bayside. And then Principal of the Year was Beth Myers, who was most recently at Riviera. She's won all kinds of accolades for her leadership at Riviera, and now we've transferred her to Creel Elementary. So she's going to take her magic over there and you know, do her magic work there. We also went to the State Teacher of the Year gala last week to honor our Teacher of the Year, Michelle Hannes, who is at Melbourne High School. She's an ESOL teacher, and all the other 67 or 70 odd Teachers of the Year from around the state. But since we do have the school-related Employee of the Year, Chris Hadaway, the SRO from Rockledge, they also honored him.
Yeah.
So it's quite a celebration, you know, so Brevard getting on stage twice, so to speak, and lots of stuff to celebrate with our employees the last few weeks. I did go to the BSF, the Brevard Schools Foundation backpack giveaway, so not the day we packed the backpacks, but the day we gave away the backpacks. Hundreds and hundreds of backpacks given away, hundreds and hundreds of families coming through. Quite the operation. In fact, what I'd like to point out is it wasn't just backpacks. So many different community agencies were there providing services to these families. Free dental screenings, free health screenings. You could get your sports physical there. All kinds of resources made available to our families in our community, and that was all voluntary, you know, from all those different organizations to be there and be a part of that. I really want to thank the Brevard Schools Foundation for putting that on. You know, not just getting the backpacks and everything, school supplies, but working with those community partners to get them there. And the last thing is today, in between meetings, I snuck over to EFSC's Cocoa campus to the welding lab. So those who don't know, the EFSC Cocoa campus has some vocational training programs. One of them is welding, and the EFSC Cocoa campus is very close to Cocoa High School. So a year ago, we started a partnership with Cocoa High School and EFSC, where students who are interested in becoming welders, high school students interested in becoming welders, they could enroll in this program. It's a 2-year program, starting the summer of their junior year, summer before their junior year. They go to the EFSC welding lab 6 hours a day during the summer and weld. They begin their welding courses in the summer. And then during their junior year, then the summer after their senior year, summer after their junior year, and then summer going into their senior year, rather, they're still welding. So basically a year and a half, 2 years worth of welding. But when they graduate high school, they will graduate with their AS degree in welding as well. So the first cohort started last year, so I went to visit them. Little did I know, they were already in the second welding lab because the cohort for this year, so the second cohort was already starting in the first lab. So I've got pictures of all these kids, young adults welding, and it's amazing the time commitment that these young people have given to this program. I joke with them that a lot of their peers are probably sitting in air conditioning, playing video games. And instead, they're spending 6 hours a day in the summer welding, in the heat, no air conditioning, but learning a trade, a skill that's going to lead them to a very high-wage career right out of high school. So encouraging them to continue on this path. It's a long 2-year sequence, but really excited to see them today. And so I'm going to check in with them every couple months to make sure they're staying on track. But the instructors are really impressed with the work ethic of these kids. They said they have adults that enroll in these courses, and they drop out after a period of time because they can't.
It's hard.
They don't have the work ethic that these high school kids have. So pretty excited to see this, and something we'll probably replicate at some other locations, but really good for the Cocoa community and the kids at Cocoa. In fact, 2 of the students weren't even from Cocoa High. There's one from Merritt Island and one from Cocoa Beach.
I love it.
So they're still availing themselves of the program.
Cool.
Pretty good stuff.
That's great.
That's great, Dr. Rendell. Thank you for sharing that. We will take a short recess before the non-agenda public comment portion of tonight's agenda.